Welcome to today's video, guys. We are on our way to look at a buried 1980 Chevrolet Camaro Z28 right now. If you've been on the channel before, you know that I've got 3rd gens and 4th gen stuff coming and going on the channel frequently, but one thing I've never actually owned, or driven for that matter, is a 2nd generation Camaro. What's funny about this is I've heard of this exact car a few times recently from a couple of close friends of mine, and they both know about it. One of them has actually spent a whole bunch of time on it in the past, cleaning up the paint and doing some mechanical type work and things like that. And we'd always talked about getting it running for the dude again, or I guess they were talking about it or something like that. I've never actually spoken with the fella that's selling the car, but apparently it's not going to happen. And I got a chance to come and take a look at it today. This one's supposed to be dark blue with the Z28 stripe kit, and I think it's got a blue interior. I haven't even seen a picture of it yet, but apparently it's been sitting in this fella's garage for a couple years now, and it's buried under some stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and check it out, try and get it running, and maybe even get the couple of 3rd generation IROC Z wheel and tires that I got on it under it so we can drive it. And who knows, maybe we'll strike a deal and take it home, get this thing cleaned up, running right, maybe have some fun with it and sell it, who knows. So, major spoiler alert, here is the car that's in the thumbnail of the video. But I'm showing this to you for an important reason, because this car was not abandoned like many other abandoned car videos where this car was just hidden and basically neglected. It sat for the last 5 years, but in today's video, we go pick it up, get it running, clean it up real good, do a little bit of a tune-up, and we put quite a few miles on the car. But before we go over all that, a couple of videos ago, I gave away a camera on the channel by hiding a little Joe Dirt somewhere in the video, and what I'm gonna do is hide another one. At some point in the video, there's gonna be a much better hidden photo of Joe Dirt with a little audio clip with it.
Dang.
And hopefully one of you guys find it. The first person that finds it, comment with the timestamp that you found it in. They show up in chronological order, so whoever gets it first, I'll be able to see that real easy. Last time I thought I hit them pretty good, but both of them are found within an hour of uploading the video. So I'm gonna hide this one a little bit better. All you gotta do to win is find out the timestamp, and for me to mail it to you, you have to live within the contiguous United States. That's all, not selling them or anything. I just had a couple of those from the last video, so I wanna get more stuff into the hands of you guys. If you wanna start a YouTube channel, or just do some filming of stuff you're out doing with your family or toys or whatever. So that's my spiel on it. This is the car. Let's go back in time before we had the car, and we'll show you the story of this 1980 Camaro Z28. Little Silverado SS up there. You don't see one of those all the time. Back in the day, I had a red one that was all-wheel drive. Those are actually kind of cool trucks. So, anyways, guys, I'll check up with you guys when we're at the car, and we'll see what kind of shape it's in.
Have starting fluid?
I might have something in my workshop.
$100.
Can I get it again? Tell what it is. Yeah, it's just the header's cooking. Probably moisture and all that. Run. Yeah. Probably shut her down so we don't die. Alright. out of here in the last, I guess, 7 years or so. So pretty big day here for it. All right. Oh, it's got the tape deck in it.
I took it out the next couple of summers, and then when I say I took it out, I started it, maybe went for a couple of rides. Like,
Okay.
I didn't get rid.
Yeah, not down the freeway or nothing like that.
No, I didn't get rid of it.
Okay, so pretty much the last 5 years, it really hasn't been driven almost at all. And it's going to show a little bit. The car was covered, as you just saw in the thumbnail, it was covered in dirt and stuff. So we just took the stuff off of it, but this is like as is. And it's got collector plates on it, so there's not going to be a date on it, but this is true. I know a couple of guys that know the seller, and they're all vouching, saying the same story. So it's pretty much straight up. Oh, look at that. You can just break into these ones. Yeah, we should do that. Yeah, it seems to run pretty good. Radiator cap's getting warm. Everything looks okay. It's just smoking from sitting as far as I can tell, but the car does run good. I got to give it that.
I'm good on my side.
Yeah, we're pretty good over here. It ain't gonna get wet, which is good. Self-propelled mower, a compact utility tractor, zero-turn mower, or heavy-duty tractor, whatever it is, Duluth Lawn and Sport. So here we are in the 1980 Camaro Z28. Otherwise, interior's pretty good. Dash pad's coming apart a little bit. The headliner's pretty good. Looks like, actually, it's really good overall. I thought it was sagging, but it's not. It's actually in really nice shape. Door cards and everything are all real good on it. So overall, it's a pretty good car. But turns out one of these guys actually fixed this already back in the day. So there's all sorts of stuff I might notice that they know all about. So I'm discovering it. These guys know the car. So we'll go for a quick ride and see how it drives, and I guess we'll see what we're gonna do with it here. I'm not as tall as him. Try this. Okay. There's a mirror over there. I can't believe it drives this nice after sitting for 5 years. That's like kind of hard to believe. It actually does drive decent right out of the gate. The steering is as bad as you'd probably expect in the second gen. Not super tight, but I don't think it's bad. It's a little washy. Yeah, otherwise, you know, regardless, this car should not drive this okay after sitting that long. And you think it like should be any better? I mean, really?
It's just like I remember.
I can't say that it should. This is pretty good. This thing ain't bad.
Like the dash, these were here from when he had it for sure.
Oh, really?
No ifs, ands, or buts.
This thing's sweet. This is exactly what I hope they'd be like. Get the big fenders, they're like almost Corvette-like from what I've had in C6s. I mean, they're maybe even like a precursor to it. You can see that big deal up there, and there's a hood scoop with that power vent or whatever on the cowl induction. It's pretty neat. It's sort of like a, it'd be time capsule, it must be.
That That was the buffer back in the day.
Is that the same one you used?
It's got the blue paint on it.
That's pretty funny. Definitely got a shift kit in it. Let's see how the brakes are up here. I'll try to clean it up a little bit. Ready?
Oh wow.
Didn't pull or nothing, I think, at all. Probably.
Wow. I'll take that.
This thing's pretty legit, I gotta admit. Yeah, let's see if it opens. Yeah. That's sweet. How do you not like that? You don't get that on cars anymore. That's so cool. All right, so the deal's done on the car. We're about to take it home and start cleaning it up. That thing does run good. I mean, it's just the second gen and first generation stuff has so much more presence than I would say like the third generation Camaro and Firebird stuff does. And what I really think is that I'm probably gonna end up selling the white car and doing a bunch of stuff to this car, because to me, it's a more interesting F-body to do stuff on. The third gen stuff is really cool, but in my head, the second gen Camaro looks way cooler. And that might not be a popular opinion, but that's just the way I see it. You can see when you get up closer how dirty the paint really is, so a good hand wash is going to bring back a little bit of clarity to it, but what it really needs is a cut and buff. Car runs really good. It leaked a little bit of oil, maybe some power steering fluid, but overall, I think it runs great. Alright, so here's the 1980 Chevrolet Camaro Z28. It is now in my possession and in the garage. So over the last couple of days, all that I've really done to it is wash the car and pick up some parts for it and put actually quite a few miles on it. Did a little bit of freeway driving, and evidently there is a aftermarket rear gear ratio in the differential housing. It must be something like a 410 series or something like that, because this car should still have a factory turbo 350 in it with a shift kit. As far as I know, that's all it's been modified. And from the factory, it would have a 342 gear ratio. But going about 70 miles an hour, it's like 3,200 RPMs. It's really high. I've got some parts to get rid of these blue plug wires out here. I have some new spark plugs for it. As far as I can tell, I may have some leaking valve cover gaskets, and if I get really lucky, I may be able to even find a more factory style air intake for it, because this one doesn't actually fit. My goal for this car is to do a really good cosmetic restoration of it without, of course, going to a body shop and having to pay tens of thousands of dollars to have this thing fully restored. So I'm going to try and salvage the paint for, you know, as good of a shape as it's really in overall. It is single stage paint everywhere, so all of this haziness that you see here should come out. I mean, you can even see it's shinier where it's just been rubbed. So I don't think it's going to take too much elbow grease to get this thing shining again. I'll give you a quick view of the interior. You can see it's just dirty. Nothing's really torn, missing, or otherwise. It's that little blemish on the dash there, which is too bad. And otherwise, it seems to be pretty good for the age overall. The door cards are in good shape. The armrests and everything seem to all be working. Overall, it's a pretty solid car. You're not really going to get a good sense of it. There's a little bit of rust back here on the lower valance, but overall, under the car is really clean. You know, relative to the age, the frame rails are perfect, and all the real important stuff is in great shape. I did get new Cooper Cobra Radial GT tires on the front and back of the car. I'm still on the American racing rims that came with it, so for now, it's still kind of in mid 90s, late 80s street stoplight racer mode, if you will. That's kind of how I see the car. Got a little damaged door handle here, so maybe I'll get lucky and get one from like Classic Industries, or maybe take off one, try and get a replacement of that, because it is kind of pain to open. You got to fiddle with it a little bit. But even the back seats and everything like that, they're all in nice shape. Just a little bit of cleaning is going to go a long ways on it. So now that it's in the garage, the last thing we're going to do on this is get those plugs and wires on it, clean it up just a little bit, get some TLC. I have a new 75 group size battery in here, and it does need a battery hold down, because right now it actually will rock around. And the other thing I'm going to do in a future video rather, is un-90s this stuff, because we've got some aftermarket chrome stuff on here, and what I'm going to do is scuff it down and paint all that SEM trim black, so it's going to disappear right into the engine bay and no longer be a focal point, because it really doesn't need to be, and it wasn't from the factory. This would have been a black finish. So try and crack some of this, take away a lot of the distractions. I'm just trying to go for a really good cruiser here. Well, I didn't want to update you guys too much on this, but this rear cylinder has been the biggest pain of all of them, because you can't actually fit a 5/8 socket onto the spark plug like you normally would be able to. So I had to use, you know, of all things, just a crescent wrench to get that one off. But it did come off. Otherwise, it's been pretty straightforward. Sometimes you have spark plug clearance issues with these aftermarket long tubes, and especially older ones on older stuff. I just don't think they can make them quite to the level that they can today, where usually you don't seem to have too much of a problem on late model stuff. But it's been a little bit of a pain, I'm not going to lie. So I'll be interested to see if I can dress out the new wires good enough to where it's not going to be touching or rubbing on anything, but I guess we'll see. I'll try and fight this one back in quick. Alright, so I did end up with one wire right there that was pretty short, and I don't know that I'll be able to mix and match them enough where I'm now going to trade that short one for it being short somewhere else. So one thing I did find out of what was out of ordinary was cylinder 5 was finger tight there. I could have taken it out with my fingers, but otherwise everything was pretty much as you'd expect. These don't have that many miles on them, but I really didn't know what kind of condition they were in, and this gives you a good idea of how the engine's running. That one's a little bit worse for wear than the others, but at any rate, got some new plugs and wires in the car. Let's fire it up real quick and see what we got, and then we're going to wrap up today's video on the new Camaro. Well, there you have it, guys. We got the car bought, drug out of the garage, washed up, minor tune-up done to it, and a couple of little corrections already. I'm going to clean up the interior and then start focusing on un-90sing the engine bay area, as well as cleaning up the exterior by correcting the paint. So I hope you guys liked today's video. Hopefully I'll find some more garage finds like this, rescue them, get them back on the road. Until then, we'll see you guys in the next video.